wrestling isn't supposed to be real. But when injuries happen live, the pain is impossible to fake. From legends who bled until they passed out, to icons whose careers almost ended in one brutal move, these are moments fans will never forget. A huge star later in this list nearly lost everything. But first, what happens when John Cena's nose meets Seth Rollins' knee? One knee from Seth Rollins and John Cena's face folded sideways on live TV. The most marketable smile in wrestling turned into a mangled mess right before millions. Cameras caught the moment his nose bent out of place, and Cena still fought through it. It makes you wonder, if a nose can break that easily, what happens when it's a tooth? A stiff strike sent Asuka's tooth flying, leaving a gap that was impossible to miss on camera. She laughed it off, still fighting, but fans winced just looking at it. Dental injuries may sound small until you see them in high definition. One wrong shot changes your whole face, but if a tooth hurts this bad, what about an entire arm tearing apart? Edge's long-awaited comeback ran into disaster when a slow-motion replay revealed his triceps tearing mid-match against Randy Orton. He gritted through it, but the moment changed the match and sidelined him for months. A career that once ended from injury nearly slipped away again. If a single muscle can cut short a legend's return, imagine what happens when the damage runs even deeper. The big dog knelt on wrestling's biggest stage, his face painted in crimson after Brock Lesnar's barrage. The hard cam stayed locked, broadcasting every drip across a stadium crowd in shock. It wasn't just a match, it was carnage disguised as entertainment. And if this much blood came from the head, what would happen when Brock literally split someone open? SummerSlam ended in chaos when Brock's elbow smashed Orton's skull wide open. Blood pooled so fast, the referee waved in medical staff, and the main event stopped cold. A match turned into a medical scene, leaving fans stunned. And yet, Brock wasn't invincible either. If Randy fell victim to him, what happens when Brock himself nearly breaks his own neck? On the grandest stage, Brock attempted a move no one expected, a shooting star press. He under-rotated, crashing headfirst into the mat. Millions gasped, believing they had just seen a career end. Somehow, he finished the match, proving toughness beyond belief. But the risk was unforgettable, and if Brock's neck scare was bad, wait until the ladder literally rearranges someone's face. One ladder misfire turned into horror when steel whipped Joey Mercury across the face. In seconds, blood gushed everywhere, the camera catching the panic live. It's still called the nastiest oh-no ladder shot in WWE history. Fans couldn't look away, and Mercury couldn't escape the damage. And if a ladder wrecked a face this badly, imagine what it did to teeth. Cesaro hit the turnbuckle slingshot, but instead of bouncing, his teeth jammed straight upward into his gums. A close-up revealed the nightmare, and the crowd gasped as one. Everyone instinctively touched their mouth. It hurt to even watch. He kept going somehow. But if a smile can break like that, what happens when a brand new champion's shoulder gives out in real time? In his first Universal title match, Finn Balor took a barricade bomb that ripped his shoulder apart. Cameras later caught him popping it back in mid-match, grimacing through history. He still won the belt, but left broken. A champion crowned with one good arm. It doesn't get crazier than that, or does it? Because Finn's next battle left his head split wide open. Inside Hell in a Cell, Finn took a ladder to the skull that split his head wide open. Trainers rushed in, and millions watched as staples went straight into his scalp while the match continued. Medical reality live on pay-per-view. It doesn't get more raw than that, but staples weren't the only hardware problem. Sometimes even ropes can knock a man out cold. One slide under the rope went wrong, and Enzo's head snapped off the bottom strand. He collapsed instantly, going limp in front of a silent arena. The match stopped, and fear took over. The replay still makes fans shudder. It looked like his career ended in an instant. From ropes to barricades to caskets, though, the next back-breaking fall ended a prime run. Against The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels took one mistimed bump onto the casket's edge, and his back was never the same. Cameras caught the crash that forced him out of wrestling for years. One split second changed the course of an entire era. If the Heartbreak Kid could fall victim like that, then it's no surprise that quads start snapping next. During a tag match, Triple H planted his foot and his quad ripped instantly. He collapsed, clutching his thigh, but finished the bout, even letting Jericho put him in the walls. The crowd had no idea how bad it was until later. Wrestling on a torn quad is superhuman, and years later, he'd tear another muscle that left him nearly helpless. Years after his quad disaster, Hunter's body betrayed him again. In Saudi Arabia, DX faced the brothers years of destruction when his pec tore early. He wrestled the entire main event holding one arm against his side. Crisis management in front of millions. From torn pecs to broken hearts, the next injury ended something far bigger than just another body part. The dead man stumbled through the match, vacant-eyed, clearly concussed after an F5 from Brock. The cameras cut to worried faces as the impossible happened. The streak was broken. Fans watched in disbelief as Undertaker looked lost, both in character and reality. It was the night myth met mortality, and a career ended the moment another neck slammed into the mat. One pile driver from Owen Hart dropped Steve Austin straight on his head. The crown of his skull hit the mat, leaving him motionless. Somehow, Austin improvised a weak roll-up to finish, but the Attitude Era nearly ended that night. One bad landing almost erased its biggest star, and decades later, another beloved name would suffer a neck break the world saw live. A belly-to-belly suplex outside the ring went terribly wrong. Big E landed on his neck, instantly signaling he couldn't move. Fans froze in silence as cameras caught the terrifying aftermath. One of the most universally loved stars was suddenly in real danger. From one neck shattering a career's momentum to one nose breaking that built an entire new legend. Nia Jax's punch shattered Becky's nose, blood pouring as she stood tall in the crowd. Instead of weakness, it became the moment that made her the man. Arms outstretched, face drenched, she looked unstoppable. An accident turned into an icon. But if one bloody nose launched a new era, what happens when the next shoulder scare nearly derails a Rumble? In the chaos of the Rumble, AJ Styles twisted mid-spear and landed wrong. He rolled out instantly, clutching his shoulder, a top star suddenly signaling he was hurt. Replay showed the awkward impact in slow motion. A split second nearly changed the match. And if a shoulder scare can derail the Rumble, what happens when a jaw literally cracks mid-fight? Beth Phoenix kept going even after fracturing her jaw in the middle of a match. Cameras caught her holding her face while the referee checked, but she fought through the pain. It was an early glimpse of the toughness that defined her career. A broken jaw is brutal. Yet, the next injury wasn't about bone. It was about a champion's knee collapsing live. Performing a sunset flip powerbomb, Seth Rollins' knee buckled inward. He crumpled to the mat, footage spreading online within hours. The reigning world champion was suddenly gone for nearly a year, his reign cut short in seconds. It was shocking proof that even the best can break down. And if a champion can fall like that, imagine a debut ruined before the first bell. Sami Zayn's dream debut against John Cena turned into a nightmare before the bell even rang. Hyping the crowd, he threw his arms up only to pop his shoulder out. He wrestled the whole match one-armed, fighting through agony just to prove he belonged. One freak entrance ruined the moment, and the very next bruise would leave an entire arena gasping. When Cody Rhodes removed his jacket, the crowd went silent. His chest and arm were drowned in a massive purple bruise, the torn pec muscle bleeding inside his skin. He still fought through hell in a cell, every move making fans wince. It was the most shocking visual of the modern era, from purple bruises to an eye swelling completely shut. Mustafa Ali's eye swelled grotesquely in real time after a series of stiff shots. Close-ups showed the damage spreading, his face transforming mid-match. For a rising star, it was a heartbreaking detour that took him out of the spotlight. One eye ballooned, one career slowed. And if this looked painful, wait until the next ladder crash nearly ended a daredevil's career. Edge built his legacy on daredevil bumps, but those same ladder spears nearly destroyed him. One terrifying landing forced his early retirement, his body breaking under the toll. The montage of mid-air carnage is breathtaking and haunting. Every spear off a ladder came with a price, and if Edge's body finally gave out, the next crash showed a concussion live on pay-per-view. Kairi Sane looked dazed after repeated impacts, clearly concussed yet still trapped in a chaotic main event. Becky Lynch and Charlotte could be seen whispering instructions, trying to protect her as the match spiraled. The live cameras caught every uneasy second. Watching a star wrestle while barely coherent was chilling, and if that was hard to watch, the next underdog fought through even more pain. The Ultimate Underdog opened WrestleMania with welts, bruises, and a cut that made fans fear his comeback was ending too soon. Bryan's body showed every scar of his battles, amplified by the post-surgery story everyone knew. And still, he fought on. It was proof that pain can be inspiration. But if Bryan's fight was inspiring, the next bloody callback redefined an entire era's toughness. Becky's bloody nose became an icon, but her battles with Asuka proved the women's division wasn't spared from the same brutality. A quick montage of bloodied faces reframed toughness across an entire era. These weren't accidents. They became defining visuals. And if Becky symbolized grit, the next image left fans asking if a man was even human after what they saw. After being hurled from the cell, Mick Foley somehow smiled. The camera zoomed, and there it was, his tooth lodged in his nose, one of the most disturbing yet surreal visuals ever broadcast. Proof of Foley's inhuman punishment tolerance. Fans still flinch at the close-up, but as legendary as that shot was, one blood-soaked face created the most unforgettable image of all. Trapped in Bret Hart's Sharpshooter, Stone Cold refused to quit. Blood poured down his face, every scream caught perfectly by the camera until he passed out. In that moment, a star was reborn and an era defined. Pain became legend. Struggle became transformation. No injury moment, real or staged, ever matched it. This wasn't just caught on camera. It was immortalized forever. And that was the countdown of the most insane injuries ever caught on camera. But if you thought these were bad, wait until you see the scariest injuries in WWE history, the ones so brutal even the wrestlers still shudder remembering them. Click the video on the screen for that.